Now it's time for us to build out our final escape scenes. So without further ado, let's get going. So I'm just going to switch back over to the source tab here, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of our file, and we're going to implement the clearing scene. And in here, let's go ahead and grab the text that we need here. First, let's put in our say. This is what Alexa is going to say to our player, and I'm going to switch over to the text file resource and grab the dialog there, and we're going to copy this text here, switch back over to our editor, and here we can paste in that text, and we are using a variable here, as you can see, attacker. So let's say you defeated the boar or you defeated the hyena. Alexa would say you were able to defeat the hyena and so on. So here's the narrative. Essentially, you were able to defeat your attacker. However, you enter a clearing and there's a bunch of hyenas chasing after you. You come up to a waterfall with a bridge and you have two options. Do you take that 50-foot plunge down the waterfall to get away, or do you take your chances and go over the bridge? The bridge is a little bit old and it could potentially collapse, so you basically have those two options. So with that being said, we then have to do a then after Alexa says her dialogue, and we have two options. So basically, if Alexa hears jump or maybe jump down, this is into the waterfall we're referring to, jump off, jump into the pool, or jump into the waterfall, any of these phrases, and you can add more if you like. So if that is heard, we will do a scene, or I should say we will jump to a scene, and we're going to call this determine fate. Right, so we will implement this. Else, if we hear take the bridge, or if we hear bridge, or if we hear run across the bridge, we can call that exact same scene. So determine fate, we haven't implemented it yet. Also, let's put in here a reprompt just to catch in case the user hasn't responded in enough time. We can say, do you jump into the pool or take the bridge? We can also put in here a recap. Maybe the user said something that we weren't expecting or we didn't realize. So we prompt them and say jump or take the bridge. And that way, the user will be given a context clue of what they are to say to continue. So it's always good to provide recaps and reprompts and so on with your scenes, and that way you can sort of guide the user into how to complete your narrative. So with that being the case, let's do determine fate. So we're going to implement that scene. And here, we can do it then. We're not actually going to say anything. But again, we'll do the roll 1d2. And again, roll is this particular feature in the Skillflow Builder where you're sort of rolling a dice. We're rolling one die, and that die has two sides, and it has the value of 1 or 2, could be the potential result. So after that roll, we can inspect the roll result. So if roll result is equal to 1, let's take that as we escaped. This is another scene we have to implement. Or if roll result is equal to 2, basically we died. So that's another scene we implement. So the last two scenes of our skill would be died. Let's implement that one. And basically, Alexa can say You plunged to your death, and we can say then we can go to game over. When I saved there, we haven't implemented escape. That's why that error message came up. Just scrolling back up here, we already had game over. So when you're died here, I'm simply calling game over because you'll be able to hear, sorry, you have died. You were not able to escape the jungle. You want to give it another shot. And then it will go to start playing. Would you like to start playing? And so on. You actually start over everything. So that's a neat way to sort of wrap up your skill and actually start it over if the user wants to, or the user can exit. So that's the implementation of the died scene. And the final scene is escaped. So everything is good, and we have escaped the jungle. So with escape, there is some verbiage here. Let's get that from our text file so we don't have to type it in. Let's paste that text in, and here it is. Okay, and that's the end of our escaped save phrase. And then we can do a then. And we can go back to start playing. So we're starting over our game. So we complete the loop. So that is our skill. And let's do best fit here. As you can see, it's entirely built out. You can zoom in here. And we can see our tree. We were able to accomplish quite a lot. We had from start all the way to start playing, and our narrative branches out all the way down to our battle, and then we had game over and so on. So really cool. We're able to visualize our entire narrative, and you can see how the Skill Flow Builder tool makes it really simple to build out a really complex Alexa skill. And we're using simple syntax here by identifying scenes and conditions, not necessarily code, but we're using sort of an English-like syntax to quickly build out an Alexa skill. In the next video, let's test out our escape sequence.